The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
We briefly talked about how you went to Melbourne for those 50-50 grime events.
Yeah.
And, you know, talking about Wombat and the level that he's on with that grime shit. He had a battle, like a grime clash with Mr. Wrighty. I think that was 2019. And I think you filmed.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, what was your take on that particular event? Because a lot of people were quite disappointed, not with Wombat's performance, but with Mr. Wrighty's performance.
I think when you're talking about such a culture that was so new and growing, it would have been cool when the rest of the world, and you know, things are getting to it, we're starting to get to an international level. People, the world, like everyone was starting to watch Australia a bit more. That maybe we could have had a bigger impact with that. You know, grime clash has been around for years and such a pioneering, pivotal part of the culture in the UK. And I think a lot of people were excited to see the potential in it. And for it to just be the first off wasn't, you know, the best. You know, it would have been awesome to have something really top tier, high level, because people around the world would have watched that. And for that to represent where our culture's at for, you know, potentially the biggest clash and the way it was hyped up, and two MCs that are meant to be renowned for being some of the best MCs in the country, for that level of standard to come from the first clash was just a bit disappointing. I feel like if we had a lot more going on and a lot more other clashes and things to follow it up, then it would be okay. But, you know, it was the first one and it's still the only one, you know.
Has there been no talks of another one?
I think you've had the drill scene, that drill movement come in pretty hard. And I think a lot of kids were getting excited and inspired by this UK movement. And there was potential there for grime to kind of rise, you know, from, you know, saying from the 6 or 8 MCs we had on the first ever fully gas cypher to being 18, you know, and Grumpy's packing out, like, and that was one of the last shows. It just was going out of control. I think there was so much potential for that. But the drill movement really came through, and now kids aren't probably growing up the same way, listening to that grime culture, which is pretty dominant. You know, back when we were listening, like UK music was grime was the heavy thing. A little bit of drill even in the UK back then was, but now it's a massive force all around the world, drill music. I think the versatility and the sound is a little bit more approachable on a universal scale than a lot of the grime culture, which is also based off live. You know, grime culture was based off DJs and MCs in a bar just going at it, and the live element was so important. And that's probably also like part that was disappointing about the clash, is that, you know, that live element needed to be smooth and clean, and that's where an MC really shows where they're different from being a studio MC to an actual MC. And that's the MC DJ element's the most important part of grime culture.
Well, hopefully we get to see another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surely we'll get to see another one. Wombat, if you're listening.
I don't think, you know, everyone who's came from that movement has stopped. And I think sometimes you need a bit of time to switch off before you switch on again. And like anything, the more everything gets bigger and every genre gets bigger, it all rises. You know, even if grime is still smaller than drill, it's still going to grow. You know, the rest, everything grows, you know. You know, like people, you know, say boom bap was dead, but boom bap is, you know, just as liable, if not getting, you know, more notice now. People are looking back, you know, at the things that 10 years ago people might not have noticed, you know. So it's, you know,
Nerb's got a little hand to play in that. He makes the boom bap sound like he's still got it in his music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the youngins, they might not even know that that's a particular sound, but he manages to get them to gravitate towards it.
I think that was a massive focus, and a thing that really gravitated towards, you know, Nerve and the Syntax and that team was the approach that they had, being old school and focusing on the lyrics and what you're saying, but then also being mathematical. And that is like an important part still in the music now. It's not just about the sound, it's about what you're saying and how you're doing it, and the brains behind it and the little tricks and the wordplay. You know, that's such an important part of hip hop and boom bap and the culture that kind of all was born from. You know, it was being smart with it, not just sounding cool.
You got to be clever with your raps.
Yeah, I mean, it conveniently sounds pretty cool too. So
The lesson.
Oh, yeah.